We've been getting loads of questions regarding the headlines. What's hype and what's real? You know, it's not unusual for headlines to be sensationalized and misleading. And once again, that's the case here. Headline, the standard 6% commission is eliminated. Truth, there never was an industry standard and sellers have always been able to negotiate the commission. Just like other professions, lawyers, accountants, mechanics, plumbers, etc., every agent is allowed to set a fee they're willing to work for, and the consumer has the right to negotiate and shop around. So the settlement doesn't set, establish, or eliminate a standardized commission. Another headline, sellers no longer have to pay the buyer's agent. Truth is, the sellers never had to pay the buyer's agent. In fact, in our listing contract, it specifically states the commission the listing agent is charging and how much is being offered to the buyer's agent. So it's always been disclosed up front to the seller, and the seller has to sign off in agreement. Since there are a lot of benefits to offering buyer agency commission, I really don't expect this to change much. Number one, it opens your property, makes your property more attractive to a wider audience. In a market where buyers are often competing, having to waive appraisals and inspections to win a bidding war, many buyers are already struggling to cover the additional out-of-pocket costs in this market. So by eliminating that additional cost, it's definitely going to make your property more attractive. Even if you're in a price range where this might not be as much of a concern for buyers, you'd have to imagine they'd be wise enough to take into an account if the recent sales they're using to establish their offer price on your home, including paying their buyer agent or not. And they're going to probably adjust that offer accordingly. So my belief is it's really just muddying the water and making an already complex decision even tougher. Another headline, buyer representation will become a thing of the past. And the truth is the proposed settlement requires that buyer's agents have a signed representation agreement showing the negotiated commission rate prior to showing a home. So if any of you remember, there was a time when all agents actually worked for the seller, and we hope it never reverts to that. Sub-agency was the predominant method of establishing a brokerage relationship until about the mid-90s. And a sub-agent was a real estate licensee who provided real estate services to a buyer, but actually had fiduciary duties to the seller. So, you know, when this came out in the mid-90s, you know, my mom thought it was a great change in the industry and made everything a lot more transparent and gave a lot of protection to buyers. So it's definitely important. So you may be asking, well, what is really changing then? So it's really just two things. We're going to no longer be able to advertise buyer agency commission through the MLS. And we'll have to share this info on other platforms in different ways. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this. My preference would have been to keep the commission advertised in the MLS, but also made publicly available so all parties know the exact details. In order for an agent to show you a home, you need to sign the buyer agency contract before entering the property. So this could definitely have an impact on open houses and you know, how well they work. And it also probably changes the fact that buyers now will probably be interviewing realtors before really jumping into the process. Whereas nowadays, it's not uncommon to see buyers, you know, running out to open houses, calling the listing agent, running around, but not really ready to commit necessarily to someone right away. And since they're going to need this contract, it's going to be difficult. So it's going to be important to, you know, have those interviews set up and to, you know, choose the best realtor to represent you in the purchase of your new home before you get out there. So that's it. Hope it's helpful.